Here's all the food I'm prepping for this week, including washed produce, some easy desserts and snacks, veggie burgers and veggie meatballs to make easy dinners later on. So let's jump right into it. So here's a quick overview of my farmer's market haul. I restocked on all my nice fresh produce, lots of leafy greens. On the menu this week, my usual daily salad, and I have some additional dinner recipes that I'm gonna prep today. First, I'm giving my sink a nice scrub down, and I'm gonna wash all my produce in bulk right in my sink. The time has finally come that Trader Joe's has discontinued their fruit and veggie wash. Trader Joe's loves to discontinue all of our favorite products that we're obsessed with. But I'm hoping I can run over there and stock up before they are completely off the shelves. Anyways, I'm doing my usual veggie washing routine. I just dump everything in the sink with some fruit and veggie wash, swish it around, and try and get all the dirt loosened. I give this disclaimer every time I do these videos, but my produce comes from an organic farm and it's usually very dirty. So that's why I'm so thorough with this routine. And there's usually a lot of bugs on my produce, but you know what they say, if it's good for the bugs, then it's good for me because it means there's no pesticides. On the menu this week, we have some broccoli. This farmer's market broccoli is so much better than the stuff you get in a bag. It tastes delicious. Also picked up some cauliflower. I have a recipe for veggie ground meat crumble made out of cauliflower, so that's what I'm gonna use this for. Also got my favorite sugar snap peas and some broccoli and radish sprouts. I restocked on a ton of lettuce. That is always my number one priority when I go to the farmer's market. I like to salad spin all my lettuce, make sure it's nice and dry before I put it away. That way it stays fresh the longest and doesn't go bad. Got a ton of celery. I want to make some green juices, so I will use the celery for that. And then I'm just putting everything away. Accidentally had zucchinis in the fridge, so I bought a little bit too many. I plan on making some zucchini noodles this week with some veggie meatballs, so I'll share the recipe for that later on in the video. And these beets are for my veggie juices I plan on making. Definitely need to use these leeks up. I just kept buying leeks. I want to make like a loaded leek soup this week. Potato leek soup. And next, I'm gonna give the fridge one more wipe down before I put everything back in it. Okay, now that the first part of my restock is over, I'm gonna cook some actual food items we can eat this week. So I'm gonna make some dried beans in my Instant Pot. I make these from dry and then I store them in the freezer in these silicone molds. So easy just to pop out and reheat them. So I'm doing some white beans as well as some black beans. You don't need to measure exact ratios. Give them a good rinse. Cover with 3 inches at least of water. I feel like it's better to have too much water. You can add any flavorings you want. For the white beans, I just kept those plain. For the black beans, I added in pepper, garlic, and bay leaf. I cooked both of these for around 30 minutes. I want to make some veggie enchiladas this week, so the black beans will be for that recipe. And next, I'm making some chocolate puddings. I've posted this recipe many times. The full recipe is on my blog, but I kind of like tweak it a little bit every time I make it.
I'm using flax seeds, chia seeds, dates as a natural sweetener, walnuts, vanilla protein powder, cacao powder, and blend it up with some water. Oh, I also added in some oats in there. I don't eat that much oats on a regular basis, but I want to start including them more in my diet because they're a great source of beta-glucans. Next, I'm making my favorite overnight oats recipe. I start out by making my own walnut protein milk. This is going to be like the base for my overnight oats. I add in some strawberries and cherries. Blend up that strawberry walnut date milk until smooth, and then mix that into your jars with the oats and chia seeds. Refrigerate it overnight and it becomes super thick and delicious. This recipe was a hit between me and Colin. We really enjoyed it. I've been really loving tempeh lately. Almost every night I've been adding this to my salads. My favorite way to cook it is simmering it in a type of sauce, and then it like soaks up all the sauce. It's so good that way. So here I'm just prepping it ahead of time so I don't have to do it every single night. I simmer it in some coconut aminos and some garlic jalapeno sauce from Trader Joe's. And just cook that over the stove till all the sauce is absorbed. Really simple. But yeah, the texture of tempeh I've just been loving lately. And it's a great source of protein. Okay, next I'm working on some veggie burgers. And I'm going to use half the batter to make veggie meatballs. This has been my go-to recipe lately. I've been making it a ton. So what I do is first throw in a bunch of veggies into the food processor. I'm using onion, bell pepper, 3 carrots, shiitake mushrooms, and I like to do that one at a time so it chops up nicely, or else it kind of turns to mush if you overcrowd the food processor. Pop those in the oven, and we're gonna basically dry them out a little bit so it's not so wet when we go to make the burgers. And also throw in a 1.5 cups of black beans into the oven as well. While those are baking, I checked on my beans. I like to drain and rinse them so that I can throw them into salads and it's not like sitting in liquid. Oh, and in the meantime, we're also making white bean brownies. This was kind of experimental. I just threw some things together, but they tasted really good, but they ended up being a little bit crumbly. So I'm using some of the white beans that I just made along with some almond butter, a little bit of olive oil to keep them nice and moist and gooey. I blended that up and then mixed in half allulose and half date sugar, a little bit of vanilla, baking soda, baking powder, chocolate chips, and cocoa powder. Popped that in the oven. And then by the time I made those, it was time to finish my veggie burgers. Okay, so for the veggie burgers, you're gonna take the dried out black beans and veggies and add those to a big mixing bowl along with a bunch of seasonings. I like to use Mrs. Dash seasoning, chili powder, some liquid aminos and Worcestershire sauce, some ground walnuts / sunflower seeds, and 1/2 cup of chickpea flour. Okay, I really like to use eggs as a binder for my veggie burger recipe, but if you're vegan, you can skip the eggs and just add like dry ground flax powder. It still will come together, but I just like how the eggs make it like super firm, like a nice firm patty so it's not mushy. Yeah, and then I decided to add some herbs because I'm gonna make these into meatballs also. Then I just scooped out my veggie burger / meatballs. Here's a tip to make perfectly circular burger patties. Use the ring of a mason jar, scoop out some batter and just press it into the circle, and you have all even perfect patties. And I baked this for about 25 minutes. Whew, okay, that was a lot of work. Now I'm just gonna put everything away. And here's the finished result. I tried to really be mindful of what recipes I was gonna cook this week. I think this fridge restock came out so good. I filmed all the recipes I ended up making, so I'll show you that video next. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!